What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Horror Nights Unscripted, episode 6, a podcast talking about all things Halloween Horror Nights in an unscripted and unique way. My name is Scott from SoCal Exploring,
And my name's Adrian from LoshTV.
and we're going to be trying to do kind of like a filler portion, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes before all these episodes, kind of just get things like recap the week, recap a couple things, a couple stories that we may want to tell, like the freaking Walmart story the last episode. And yeah, just small stuff like that, kind of just so you guys can see more of our personality, other than us just talking about horror nights or interviewing whatever guests we have on, and specifically guests that we have on today. So Losh was out at City Walk yesterday for the grand reopening. I'm still confused because the vlog is currently exporting as I'm filming this right now. So it's like I don't know if I'm gonna title it grand reopening or just reopening. I feel like grand reopening sounds better.
Grand, just grand. I
It's
don't know. It sounds nice.
extremely grand. But yeah, Losh was out there. He was filming a vlog. You guys have already seen it by now because that is already up by the time that you're watching this. So what was it like, Losh? Like, what was the overall experience?
It
Because we
felt
know it was
we-
limited operations, but
it felt weird at first, but it was nice to see a good amount of people there, knowing that they're preparing for the future, like preparing for what they're going to be doing maybe a month down the line.
it must have
No-
felt nice to like get out for once.
Yeah, it was
But
nice
I
to see
mean,
some of like the theme park community out there.
yeah, because like we still get out. At least I know you're still working, but I mean I try my best to get out of the house as much as I can to like go to the beach, for example, right now, or just like walk. But I haven't seen any of my theme park friends, so
Yeah,
it's
kind of sucks not seeing theme park friends.
and it's like it doesn't even have to be theme park friends, just a theme park community as a whole. Like you said, like you see all these people that you haven't seen in a while, and you see so many familiar faces. So I don't know. I'm gonna feel weird when our City Walk opens or our Downtown Disney opens. I'm gonna feel really weird. Did it look like the processes were like going smoothly as far as
Everything
like
was
everything?
good. They had as they saw in the vlogs, they had like the 6 feet separation and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone was following by the guidelines. Everyone was wearing a mask. There was an occasional person that had their mask below their nose, and I'm like, "Yo, that's not CDC guidelines.
Yeah.
Fix your mask."
Like,
I
come
didn't
on,
say it to
man.
them, but I thought it, and it was cool that everyone was actually listening, and there weren't people doing the idiotic thing and not
Yeah.
paying attention to the guidelines.
Well, it's interesting because like I made my Shanghai video talking about how what I saw on the internet from Shanghai Disneyland's opening, and it looked like some people were breaking the rules, but it seemed like from the City Walk pictures and the videos and stuff like that, it seemed like for the most part everybody was following the rules,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice because I mean I originally put out that I was scared for the U.S. when our stuff starts. It's gonna be different when the theme parks open. Obviously, less
Yeah.
people will have a care, but I feel like this is a really good step in the right direction.
That's like one thing. I don't know if it made it in the video or not, because I know we talked about it, but I don't know because we were talking. Me and my cousin were talking about it in the car driving back. To go into the store, they only were allowing a certain amount of people in, so there was a long line outside the store at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
When
don't know if I.
in the clip that you sent me, it looked like it was short at that
So
time.
we went into the store twice. Went in right when
Oh,
we got there, so right at 5 o'clock, because we got there at
okay.
5. It opened at 4. We went right into the store. We waited maybe 2 minutes. But
Huh.
then when we went to go back in with our friends Avion and Jamari, we waited about 10 to 15 minutes to go in. Not a super long wait,
Yeah,
but they were keeping track of how many people were in the store, and they were making sure that everyone there was enough space for everyone in the store, basically.
that's interesting. I saw that Voodoo Donut had a long line too.
Yeah, Voodoo Donuts line I didn't want to go back there because
Which I mean, that's not a surprise. That's always a long line.
the line whipped in the back, like it went
Yeah.
inside where the other restrooms are behind Voodoo. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
that's a long line. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did look like a long line. Like I said, the Voodoo line is always long. It
Mm-hmm.
just one thing that a lot of you guys are gonna have to take in consideration when going to these theme parks is if you look at a line, for example, like Horror Nights is the best example. If I don't know what the exact name is, but where Ghostbusters was last year, that location that has a very long queue, and if you see that queue is filled up, And you may think it's an hour, but it could be only like 30 minutes because you got to take into account people are 6 feet apart. You know,
Mm.
queue lines may look longer than they actually are. So I guess that's one thing to take into account. I'm sure you'll have your long lines here and there, but I don't know. It's gonna be different when the theme park's open. I really hope that people follow it. I really do.
I just hope people listen and things can just go smooth, and we can
I
just
know
easily work into things. For
because then
example,
everything can be happy.
for example, if everyone abides by the guidelines, we can have a bigger chance of Horror Nights having a bigger amount of people going. If you get what I'm trying to say,
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
like
a
the
bigger,
capacity raising and
exactly,
frequent fear being on sale.
exactly. I was
Yeah.
talking to a friend about that back at City Walk, and he was
Mhm.
like, "I don't think they're gonna cancel Frequent Fear for the fact that it makes them the most money."
Exactly. That's one of the big things that like we've all been talking about.
Yeah.
Is like it makes so much money. So it's gonna be interesting to see that. I don't
Yeah.
know. This is I feel like this technique is going to work really well for the theme parks. From what we saw yesterday at City Walk, I feel like it's going to work really well. However, for Horror Nights, they're going to have to implement some other stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be enforced harder as well, because there's gonna be
That's
kids.
it.
Because there wasn't that many kids at
It was
City
all like
Walk.
bloggers and adults.
It was all vloggers and adults. So it's like
Mm.
there's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, I feel like yesterday it was just more like everyone who just wants to get out of the damn house, like who's going to take their kid out to City Walk? Like there's nothing to do for them, you know? There's
Mm-hmm.
not that much to do right now in general, but still, it's like people who are adults can enjoy just walking around, whereas kids are just gonna be like bored out of their mind and want to go into the theme park.
Exactly.
So, what was it like seeing the theme parks empty?
It was so weird. So when I walked up to the gate, like the Universal gate,
Uh
and I saw that it was barricaded off, I was like, "Dang, this sucks." Because
huh.
I'm so used to walking into Universal, like walking into City Walk, going
Hmm.
straight to Universal, and going straight to the back, and either riding ET or riding Men in Black. So I was
Huh.
walking that way, and in my head, I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna go to the park," and then I was like, "Wait." Right when I got to the
Like
gate,
JK.
everything came to a screeching halt. And I'm like, "Oh." Also, there was some construction there, which was
Oh, I
weird to
saw that.
me.
Like the pavement work or something.
Yeah, they're like retiling or like I'm like
Mhm.
this is nice, gives them an opportunity to get everything nice and pretty.
And there was also a lot of there's all like clips that I cut out. Like I saw Adrian sent me a clip that he knocked down a fence.
Oh my god, dude! I didn't touch the fence. So we're standing there, right? We're recording, and then the wind just like pushes the thing, and I'm like, I'm getting out of here before I get in trouble.
You guys, if you guys go rewatch the vlog, you can hear like the fence. It's the clip I think where he's zooming into Rip Ride Rocket. You can hear the fence like fall, and then afterwards like cut out, but like the fence was like tilted like all the way.
Dude, I was like, I'm gonna get out of here before I get in trouble because I'm not gonna
Bro,
risk this. I'm not risking this.
imagine they just came up to you like, sir, what are you doing? Like we're gonna have to kick you out.
But yeah, wait months for the parks to reopen just to get kicked out the day that City Walk reopens. It's great.
That was so funny. It looked so hot, but it looked so windy.
It was hot. Whenever there wasn't a gust of wind, it
Hmm.
was just dry heat, and I was like, "This is terrible."
I think it was cool that Universal's masks are so cheap for the most part.
Yeah, it was. I think they're relatively priced well, and then they had
Mhm.
those little bottles of hand sanitizer too, which isn't priced bad either.
I think everybody likes those because they have those little clips on them.
Yeah, those are convenient. I almost bought one, but I was like, I have a
They're
big
like,
bottle of hand sanitizer, and I work at Publix,
yeah,
where I have
and
hand
you're like,
sanitizer.
realistically, how much am I gonna use it, even though it should be?
They also had, speaking of hand sanitizer, they had the little stations everywhere, the little
The little
Purell.
Purell stations.
Yeah, I only saw like one that I was able to record because I didn't want to like record when there was like a massive, not a massive people, but like a group of people. Because I don't
Hmm.
know, I feel like that's weird to them just
Yeah,
being recorded. But they were all over City Walk, wherever you had
yeah.
to eat or like.
What like every like would like what would you say and feet wise how far they're
I'd
separated?
probably say between like 15 and 20 feet.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not that bad. I definitely think like when the parks open, we'll see them like at every entrance and
Oh,
every exit
I
of
wouldn't
each
doubt it.
ride.
I would not
Like,
doubt it.
and there will be a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee it. What was there's a one oh my God, I saw a video somewhere. Oh, it was CNN that posted it. at Shanghai Disneyland, and they're like, "Oh, look, getting hand sanitizer at the exit of Pirates, and look, there's another one right here, like 3 feet away." So, because when you exit the ride, you're exiting with a group of people, and there's a lot of people exiting out. So I feel like they have to have multiple hand sanitizer stations so everyone can get a chance to go up, and there's not a long line for hand sanitizers. You don't need a fast pass for hand sanitizers.
Exactly. Oh
Uh,
man.
as far as before we wrap this filler up, we have tomorrow we're filming with TLAV, the boys over there, and that podcast will be out tomorrow as well. Yeah, that podcast will be out tomorrow as well. And then we have a couple other episodes that we're planning right now. A couple episodes got scratched, but that happens. It just some of our guests we book, but then some of them realize that like they're in contracts with Universal or like contracts with whatever theme park that they're coming from, and they can't film, and which is fair because a lot of these people, like with characters and stuff, some characters play a key role, so you can't be talking about stuff without the consent of Universal. So just it's stuff happens. And then also, I mean, there may be a time where me and Losh just have technical difficulties with an episode that may not work out. So, but we're rolling along with these episodes.
Yeah.
Already on six. This is a sixth episode. Pretty good stuff. But let's cut right to our special guest today.
In today's episode, we kick it off with another special guest that is more familiar with the Hollywood scene than other things in Orlando.
What started as a Japanese sculpture by a special effects company slowly turned into a national hoax, causing many to be freaked out by this creepy looking figure. The character was then referred to as Momo and even brought to life at Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood in the Spirits and Demons of the East Scare Zone by a talented scare actor who is also our special guest today. Please welcome to the show, Mikaela. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course, this first kicks off our first scare actor, right? Gosh, I think this is our first scare actor.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
because we've
Yes.
had Julie and Tim on, and that's it. So yeah,
Yeah. That's it.
first scare
Yeah.
actor, first scare
Yay.
actor
First
on. So
character.
this will be fun. Um, me and Michaela are familiar with each other through Horror Nights. I saw her work go on, in the Scare Zone. Really talented stuff.
Thank you.
So when I reached out to her, she was more than happy to come on. So once again, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I'm so happy to. I had a really good time playing Momo. It was definitely my best year working Horror Nights, so
Uh
I'm
huh.
excited to share about it.
Oh, perfect. So dive right into it. First, before we dive into the Horror Night stuff, I want to talk a little bit about you. What gets you? What makes you enjoy the horror genre? What's your career like? Tell me all about it.
Well, originally I came to Los Angeles to be an actor, and I went to acting school, and through somebody in acting school is how I found out about Halloween Horror Nights. So, like, straight out of acting school that summer, I auditioned for Horror Nights and worked it the next year, and that was about 4 years ago.
Hmm.
I think what drew me to it is that it was like an acting job.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was like, oh, my first acting job.
Yeah. You get to put it on the
But
resume and everything.
yeah, right, I do, because I was that year I was like a captain of like the area that I was working, so I was like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, I'm like legit. But I think that's really what drew me into it. But what kept me in it is the community of it. It's
Yeah.
like I think like 500 people or something. They hire a lot of people,
Hmm.
but you get put into your maze or your scare zone, and you get to really like bond with like these people that are also in your zone or in your maze, because you're seeing and scaring with them 4 days a week, 5 hours a day.
Hmm.
And I think just the all the fun things of it, like it's fun to dress up and scare people. Like that's my job. Okay, not bad. I do love the horror genre though. Like I'm in a couple of horror movies. One just came out, and so like being in that community, it's kind of like I can like bounce off stuff with people like, oh yeah, working horror nights, like da 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 da. I know other people in other states who like own other haunts, and it's kind of cool. Like sometimes I'll be on the East Coast and run into people and see someone in a horror nights shirt. It's like, oh yeah, da da da. But like they'll be talking to me about the Florida horror nights, and like I'm
Uh-huh.
talking about the Hollywood horror nights.
It's crazy how big the world is, not only in the scare actor community, but just in the community as a whole. It's crazy how big it is and
Oh
how
yeah.
It's
I
just weird. A lot of people don't realize it until you get into it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I have a friend who I work with. They own a horror pop culture convention called Mad Monster Party.
Hmm.
So like I work on the management team for that, and it's like all the people that love horror nights like come to that event, and like you see like all the people in the battle vests and like
Yeah.
the like horror t-shirts and everything. Like, it's such a big community of people who love this kind of thing, and like we may look scary, but we're really nice.
Yeah, a lot of those characters have that soft spot to them. That's
Yeah.
really neat, though. It seems like you got like a big line of career things that you can go into really anything now. One of the big
Yeah.
things is acting. Like I mean, you bring these whatever character you're playing, especially at Horror Nights or any haunt in general. With Horror Nights in specific, you could be bringing a character from a movie or a TV show to life, or just a character from a scare zone, which is your character that we'll talk about a little bit later on. But it's a really neat how you can kind of have that your own storytelling aspect to it, bringing this character to life.
Oh, absolutely. And because with a character like Momo, Momo came from the Momo challenge, which like I think you only saw the face. So
Yeah.
like I kind of had a lot of freedom to bring that character to life the way that I saw fit. And
Mm.
I chose to like take it and run with it, I think. I think I'm not weird with it because I don't know, it's you can, and that's why I was cast in that role in that part of the park because I am so creative with the choices that I make when I scare.
Yeah.
And uh it's you have when you're playing a role like that, you have a lot of creative power, and they like it when you really get into it, and that's what I tried to do.
That's really nice. We're gonna dive into the questions right now. That way we can really dive into that role a little bit more and find out all the details and stuff around it. Go ahead, Lost. Start us off.
All right. So, how many other actors are playing the same role, like the
Only
Momo role?
only one. I had one double. Everybody in Scare Zone 1 was cast like that. So every 45 minutes we would come and tag each other out. We do like a little like double high five because in our particular mask, visibility was very low. It had to be directly in front of each other for us to know that like we were out. Like I'm out here, you can go on break now. Um, I did encounter some collisions doing
Yeah.
that. Um, oh my gosh, there is one particular instance. Um, I thought it was clear. I didn't see people in front of her,
Hmm.
and so I like ran to like go get in front of her to like tell her go on break. And there was a girl I did not see with because my visibility was legit
Yeah.
just this.
You can't see out
Yeah.
of the side of it.
No peripheral vision in any direction at all. Up, down, left,
Ooh.
right, nothing. But the previous year I had had a similar mask, so the people at Universal knew that I could handle performing in such restrictions.
Hmm.
But so I ran in front of her and I like full force, like my head collided with the side of the head of the desk so hard that I knocked her to the ground. And my
Wow.
supervisor was right there. So I was like I just like looked at her and I was like, oh, I went to my supervisor and I was like, did you see what just happened? I felt like felt so dumb. I felt so bad because I knocked this girl to the ground. She looked pissed. Like
Damn.
obviously I didn't. We Universal Halloween Horror Nights is a no touch event, so
Hmm.
we're not trying to touch you. We don't want to touch you. I want to
Yeah.
get as close as I can without actually touching you. But so when you actually have contact with the guest, it's like, oh shit, like we aren't supposed to do
Yeah.
that.
You're like, oops.
Uh, my supervisor, like, did you see that just happen? Like, can you go talk to her? Can you go see if she's okay? Because like I just knocked this girl to the ground with my head. Like,
Uh-huh.
cool. But thankfully, I think he gave her front of the line passes to the us maze,
Yeah.
and she was like totally
Front
fine.
of the line passes will make anyone happy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they'd be like, oh yeah, no problem. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're
Uh-huh.
good.
Yeah, it is. It's funny though because like I've had my fair share of scare actors touch me, and it happens. Like, you can only do so much when you're in that environment and you're being asked to play a character that's like going crazy in your face. Like you can only prevent so
Yeah,
much.
we feel like that provides the best experience for the guests. Like
Hmm.
we are not supposed to get as close as we do, but a lot of us who do get that close have a lot of experience and have a lot of control, and so
And
that's
know how
why
to control it.
exactly like I know I
Mm.
can get this close to you. I know I can do that. So I
Yeah, yeah,
because that's my intention, just to get that
exactly.
close to you.
Hmm. Did you do any like what was the research like or pre-planning when you found out about this character?
Wow. Honestly, I don't think I ever even watched the videos on the internet. That's
I
so bad.
I knew about it. I just didn't know like the whole storyline behind it at all.
Didn't really either. They kind of at my costume fitting. So they have the costume fitting is very early, and I went to my costume fitting, and they were like, "Oh, you're Momo from the Momo challenge, like
Huh.
I'm from the internet." And they're like, "Look at us." I looked it up, and
Huh.
I remembered hearing stories on NPR about that happening when it was happening. I think I was going to some audience work, and they were talking about like it's these nice they seem like regular kids videos, and then like Momo pops up and tells you to kill yourself or something like that.
Yeah.
So okay, she's dark. I think I just like when I got into the costume and when I got into the mask and I just kind of like was like feeling it out like how would she's creepy. I had these huge gloves. The gloves were the worst. Gosh, the gloves were disgusting. But I think they made her look scarier than just a little girl because when you're a small person built like myself playing a character that is female,
Uh-huh.
it's almost like it invites guests to fuck with you. It's
Yeah.
like I think guests they get drunk and they think like, oh, you're small, like I can take advantage of you. I was definitely hit more than ever. I had 3 guests be
Were
ejected
you?
from the
Because I
park this
noticed
year.
there was you obviously had the two characters. Were you the shorter one?
No, she was the shorter one.
Okay, okay. But still, but
Oh,
it's and you have I noticed there's I mean between the four-legged stilt walker and that scare zone and everything, everyone was very like tall.
yeah, yeah, except for us. We were the only like small female character. There was only 3 women scare actors in the zone.
Hmm.
The other one, obviously me and my double. The other one, she played one of the statues. Her double was a male, and there was the geisha character, but that was played by men. So like visually, there was 2 female characters, and like
Yeah.
obviously the 6 foot tall geisha man or woman, whatever, you're not gonna mess with. But like
Yeah.
the little schoolgirl, like oh yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. I guess
Yeah.
that's how
Especially
drunk guests get.
I feel like with the mask, it was like you can tell it was Momo, but it didn't have the same, um, like it was still creepy, but it didn't have that same like sadistic, and rightfully so. I feel like that wouldn't be the right move on Universal to do, especially since kids were killing themselves. But I, you couldn't tell as much unless you were obviously like you knew about the internet stuff going on, like Momo and everything.
Oh, every night, all night long. Momo, Momo, Momo.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
god, is that Momo? Oh my god, is
Uh-huh.
that what? Oh my god, my favorite though. Somebody said it's that girl from that thing.
That's great.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
even like I can only imagine like working in a scare zone, being that character, having that happen all night. Because like when I walked through it, or like when I went in there to take pictures, I'd hear it like so
Yeah.
much, and even me, I was just like, stop.
Momo, Momo, Momo.
Uh-huh.
Can I take a picture with you?
Yeah,
No.
especially I mean, as you know, it seems like you've been working for the event for a while. Like you know, the demographics kind different, so
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah, and it was interesting too to be placed where I was. I've never worked right in the front of the park before,
Hmm.
and so you're greedy. Like you are the first thing the guests see. So like you're
Yeah.
all those horrible guests that didn't come to have a nice time. Like
Uh-huh.
you're the first one to meet those
Yeah.
people, and you're the first
Uh-huh.
one to meet those teenagers that are like, we're gonna fuck around and throw water in your
Yeah,
hair.
after they just sat in LA traffic and freaking they're all pissed or their parents just dropped them off right outside.
What sucks is though the kids though they can't eject the kids as easily as they can eject the adults. When I say eject, I mean like kick them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to, because they're minors. It's like trickier. So
Yeah.
like I had people one group of teens messed with me and like they did get ejected because they said they were leaving anyway. So
Uh-huh.
security said, we'll just escort you out
Yeah,
then.
we'll just walk you right out.
But like the other group, they just got like a talking to. One group, like this girl, she like dumped her water bottle in my hair or
Oh, wow.
the hair of my
Damn.
mask. Yeah, and I don't think they got ejected. I think they just got a talking to
Uh-huh.
because like they can't just throw them out as easily. But then like the guy who shoved me in the face like this and then
Mm.
followed me to my supervisor to tell my supervisor that I walked into his hand, that guy definitely got ejected.
Yeah, and we talk about it all the time. Like me, I always talk about it on this channel when talking about Horror Nights. It's like, well, you guys need to stop being idiots. Like, I mean, there's like all Horror Nights guests are dope and everything, but there's the ones who are new, and like a lot of them are new to the channel too. And I can see it in the comment section. I can just tell those type of guests. like don't abuse this characters. Like you're stupid. You're just dumb. You got to realize, and it's a big thing that we talked about before is you don't realize. Yeah, you have this scary creature in front of you and everything, but underneath it, like we were talking about earlier, there's a soft, like kind person underneath it, and a human just like you. You
Yeah.
know, and it doesn't matter if they're kind or nice or not underneath it. It's a they're still a human being. Don't do anything stupid.
That is something that people, it is very easy to forget when you're on the other side.
Hmm.
Like the thing with the flash, like even with the flash is a big thing. Like
Yeah.
when you shoot video or you take pictures with your phone at
Hmm.
horror nights or at a haunt and you use the flash, you're shining that light directly into somebody's
Because
eyes.
like you said, you don't have peripheral view.
Yeah.
Like
So it's like,
it's
and like doing that I know from experience, like doing that sort of thing, heads up, if you do that sort of thing, it's gonna make the scare actors not want to give you attention.
hmm.
Like we legit will like turn away and not look and cover your phone and like
Oh,
not give you the performance that you need.
I've seen it because like obviously the YouTube community around Horror Nights is a big thing as well, or like the blogger community, and I see it like I'll see well-known people with their flash on their cameras, and I'm just like, what are you doing? The characters are not gonna give you a reaction, like
Yeah. It's like
like it's not gonna happen.
how much
It's either
better.
that or like people on Snapchat constantly recording everyone with their flash on. It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's like it's not gonna look that good, you
Yeah,
know?
like
It's
yeah,
not gonna
stop.
get
Like
that.
like Flash won't make a big difference. Like it's
You're
like
not
last year,
gonna.
I was walking through Us, and this family in front had their flash on, and then this guy sits down on one of the props. Which first of all, don't
No,
do anything to the props. They're an idiot for that.
do
And then
not
he
touch
gets to this
anything.
character's face with the flash on, and I'm just like, okay, like what is getting into these people?
I don't
Like, come
like
on.
what do people think when they do stuff like that? I don't know. I've walked through the mazes. I
Hmm.
think I did get to go through all the mazes last
Hmm.
year. And it's interesting when you take a walk on the other side. Actually, last year as Momo was going to be my last year's Horror Nights, and I was
Hmm.
planning to get a frequent fear pass and just attend the event this year and like
Yeah.
be a guest because it's so fun and I don't really see myself having a better experience working there than I did last year. And it's also very
Yeah.
physically demanding, and I don't really want to put my body through that again.
Especially where you were last year.
Oh yeah, yeah, because like when you're casting a role like that, like I am the kind of performer that like takes it and runs with it. So I like get like super physical. Like I taped my knees with KT tape every day because I would work from like 8:45 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. to about 3 p.m. and then go to Universal, and then from 5 p.m. to 3 4 a.m. work Horror Nights. And I
Yeah.
did that for most of this. I did that for the whole season.
No sleep.
So gosh, it was rough, but I still managed to like do the thing. Coffee helped. But well, when you take a walk on the other side, it just kind of like shows you that because when we're watching like the guests do like dumb stuff, or being stupid,
Hmm.
it's like when you're on the other, it's a lot easier to be stupid like that. Like when you go through a maze, like I do the same dumb stuff all the guests do because
Yeah.
you're like you don't know what's going on. Like the guests
It's
don't know
easy.
what's
It's
going
easy
on.
when you don't see it from the other side.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You have a big history with Hornets, I assume.
Well, kind of. 4 years I performed at Horror Nights. I had so much fun. The first year I was on Terror Tram. I was a burned clown slash baseball clown. I actually have a hat with my characters painted on it. Somebody in my zone, like this was like I think I paid like $30 for this. This was like my favorite. I think you guys can see it. My
Oh
favorite
wow.
character,
Oh
Captain
wow.
Moody. I go by Moody at Horror Nights because it's my last name and it's like a lot rowdier and it's kind of a
Uh-huh.
rowdy environment. But so this was like one of the other makeup looks I had. When they would paint my face, I would have like different faces. So like the little burned clown right there was like when I did wear a mask. And then I got punched in the face that year, so I had him paint that on the mask.
Oh
That's
nice.
that's Hollywood Harry punching me in the face with the knife because what happened was I was like out there making sure my all the doubles had switched because I was captain, so I wanted to like make sure everything was good before I left
Yeah.
set. And I was like, I don't know, I was just going to look, and he went for a scare, and he just like punched me like legit, like with the knife, like in my face, in my
Oh.
eye. So
Ow.
I had to go. I didn't want to go to Occ Health, occupational health, like when you get hurt, that's where they send you.
Yeah. The
Um,
Health station.
Exactly. I didn't want to go, but my supervisors were like, "You need to go. Like you just got hit in the head. Like you need to
Mhm.
go get that looked
Like,
at."
well, I don't feel it though.
So funny
I'm
enough, I
fine.
didn't know. I didn't know how because Terror Tram is like very. It's far away from Ock Health, so they have to send a van to pick you up to take you to Ock Health, and that's pretty much almost anywhere in the park you're working, unless it's like Scare Zone One because you can walk there. That's
Mhm.
so I didn't know where the van was gonna pick me up. I walked down to a tram offloading where all the guests were, and like some guy tried to put his arm around me and take a picture with me. So I tried to like dodge that, and then his ring hit me on the other side of my face, split the other side of my face open.
Oh no,
Oh
that's no
no.
fun.
That was wild. But it was a good year. So I was the clown on Terror Tram the first year. The
Uh-huh.
second year, I was in. What was I in the second year?
That was
Was it
2017, right?
was
Yeah,
it The
2017.
Shining? Yeah, it was The Shining. I was a skeleton party guest in the gold room of The Shining, where we
Oh,
were just
cool.
like statue skeletons, and then we moved, and people would
Uh-huh.
lose their shit in that room. We got some good. I had one guy
Anytime
jump
there's a scare
halfway.
like that, people lose their shit.
It's it's so funny. Well, it's so like when you scare like big dudes or just getting a drop. That's like the
Uh-huh.
most rewarding thing when you scare somebody and they fall down.
Oh my goodness.
I wonder how many of those I had as Momo because I couldn't see the ground. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know. You scare them and run. That's the thing. You don't want to stick
Yeah.
around too long.
Uh-huh.
So the gold room in The Shining. Then the third year was Holidays in Hell. I was the Christmas elf at the end of the scare
Oh,
zone.
cool.
With that, those eyes were slightly bigger than Momo's eyes,
Uh-huh.
and so because I did so well with that, I think they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna put her in even smaller eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, let's make it more difficult.
Yeah. So then that was a lot of fun. That was my first time in an actual scare zone.
What was like
Uh,
being down there in the back lot?
it's different because it doesn't open up until later, I guess. It's like 7 or 8. We tried to do an opening ceremony, which was kind of cool, but
Hmm.
not as legit as like the one in the front that they ended up taking out the next year.
Yeah.
But it's it's not too bad. It's not as much. It's not as many people because it's
Yeah.
kind of like a scare zone that's set up. Whereas scare zone that's I think that's scare zone 3, the Metro scare zone, and scare zone
Yeah.
1 is the one in the front. And so like scare
Yeah, I
zone
think
1 is
that's
like,
Scare Zone 3. Scare Zone 2 is the tunnel or whatever.
oh yeah, the tunnel,
Uh-huh.
toxic triple
Yeah.
A. They could have run more with that, but they chose not to.
Yeah. Losh is gonna have it in for him when he gets to experience that down here because the tunnel is something.
It's just like dubstep music and like strobe lights and like big dudes in there.
Yeah, makes you want to fall on the floor because you're gonna get an epilepsy and shit.
So it's basically like any club over here.
Yeah,
There you
but
go.
with like mutes walking around in it if they keep it toxic.
Oh man.
But the big difference is just like I guess the amount of people. You have more like downtime and breaks. Like when you're in Scare Zone 1, there's always people.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like thinner, but for the most part, it's a lot of people because when the night starts, they all have to come in right there. They don't have to go down to the
Mhm.
Metro Scare Zone. Like that's kind of a choice you make as a guest, I guess. But yeah, just like more people.
And in the metro, it's like because you do get those downtimes. There's oncoming traffic when you go down to that area. So there's a team member there always stopping the whole big crowd. So it's almost like a gauntlet. Holidays in Hell was like a gauntlet, right? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
kind of like a gauntlet.
yeah.
Yeah. So almost like a mini
I
maze
mean,
in a way.
it was, and
Yeah.
so what makes me so happy is that because of us, it's because of the performers that we did so well in Holidays and Hell the Scare Zone that they turned it into a maze. That is like it's like we did that.
That's
Yeah.
great.
It was the
That's
number
cool.
one thing at the event every weekend, higher rated than Stranger Things.
Ooh.
The scare zone.
Yeah, Holidays and Hell Scare Zone was because they would last year they didn't tell us, but when I was in Holidays and Hell, they would tell us every day we would have a pre-shift meeting, and
Mm.
they would tell us like where we were ranked like in at the end
Oh,
of the
cool.
weekend.
So they let you know like every single night.
We that year they did, but then in 2019 they didn't, which
Oh.
we were like, what's going on? Like we want to know like
I
how
think they went. I think Horror Nights as a whole. I just went through a crucial time last year, as far as rankings and like just everything goes. Like there was a lot. I could tell there was a lot of stuff, and we'll dive into the whole opening ceremony controversy thing a little bit later. But it was definitely a weird time for Horror Nights last year. I felt.
It's it was I guess different, but I think different for me mostly because I was kind of in a different place.
Yeah,
This
whole different
Scarecrow
scene.
one is like the best of the best, and the
Uh
people
huh.
they know can take a hit.
Yeah.
that's that's something they told us. Like, yeah, they put that they do put the best people up there, but like they also put people they know can get hit because like that's we're definitely getting hit up in the front.
Mhm.
Don't hit the characters; they're people.
Don't. Don't.
So, since I'm here from Orlando,
Yeah.
I don't really know what's this character process like over there in Hollywood, like the auditioning process.
Well, we I don't know. You're probably not supposed to talk about this, but I'm not coming back, so
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So you're not coming back next year for sure.
I don't want to perform again because mostly just because it's so physical. Like one of my knees does not work the same. Well, if okay, so they put it out on the website. If you've worked for Universal before, they'll like send you an email before they tell the public that like they have an
Mhm.
audition coming up. So it's just like ushauditions.com, I think. And it tells you, you know, you schedule a time. It's I think they say like reserve 2 hours, like just in case. It doesn't take 2 hours. What it has been in the past, we go to the like Sheraton, I think, one of the ballrooms at one of the hotels by Universal,
Mhm.
right up there, like on the drive up. And one year we with the thing that they usually do is they'll play music and it's like I don't want to say demonic music, but it's like, you know, horror nights feel
Yeah.
music. And they say stalk your prey, and then when the music like peaks, kill your prey. And that's kind of the instruction that they give. So then for like 30 seconds or something, we're like running around this ballroom like freaking just like crawling, like stalking the
Going
prey and then
crazy.
like killing the prey, like oh,
Uh-huh.
getting weird, you know? And then
Uh-huh.
they're
That's
like,
awesome.
that's what it's like all night. So if you can't handle that, like, this is probably not the job for you. So that's like the one part. In other years, one year I did it where they said, okay, if you've worked the event before, like, that's it for you. It's your rehire is based on your scores from last year. If you've never worked the event before, everybody line up in a line and die any way you want. Just don't die the same way as the person before you
Just like
died.
be creative with it.
Yeah, so what I did was that like somebody like slashed my throat and like I was
Uh-huh.
and like whatever slowly went down like I couldn't like I couldn't breathe because blood was gushing down my throat. Some people, you know, they'll get shot or get, you know, attacked by a
I'm sure
dog
like
or
getting
something like
shot is one of the ones that just everybody picks.
you just oh you want to do something creative. This is an audition, you know.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
that's what it was like the first year. In After that, in the past couple of years, I feel like they'll have it's still like the stalk your and kill your prey thing, but
Mhm.
then they've had cones set up, like 3 cones or like maybe they put like a noodle on the cone. The cones are the guests, you know. So
Yeah.
go scare the cones, but don't touch the cones because if you touch the cone, that's automatically you're fucking disqualified. You're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
Um, so scare the cones, but don't touch the cones. And that's been I think what it's been like the past few times with scaring the cones. And before you go into the ballroom, you go into like one ballroom where you fill out the paperwork and you can bring your headshot. They say it's recommended, but for horror nights, I don't think they really need it. So like if you're gonna audition, don't be stressed if you don't have a headshot. Like it's not gonna stop you from getting hired.
Do they have like is it easier for them to well cuz now I guess they see you. So I'd say like obviously with Universal they do movies and TV shows, so I think that they want to look for specific people sometimes.
Well,
Like
yes, for face characters
yeah.
when they have characters that are like people from shows or people from movies, they want to cast individuals that look like those people. Obviously,
Mhm.
I had a friend who played Baby in the Thousand House of a Thousand Corpses maze, and because like their face is out, you know, they have to look like it. But for most of us, we're wearing masks. I wore a mask, except for when I got the face paint in 2016, I think it was.
Mhm.
That was kind of the last year they really did like a lot of face paint. After that, they pretty much went to all masks. I mean, it's as a performer, I don't like the mask as much. As a business, I can understand it's more cost effective to do masks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, hmm,
It's like whatever.
I can see why, but I don't love it. But Yeah, so mostly you're behind the mask, so like they can't. Your face isn't as important. It's your build. That's what they really want. They want like
Yeah.
really big guys, like guys
Uh-huh.
over 6 foot. They need you. They are always having like second rounds of auditions once everybody's hired. That's like if you know a guy who's like over 6 feet, like tell him
It's
please.
like when they had Texas Chainsaw a couple years back. I remember they were
Yeah.
casting for like over 6'5" or like over 6'3",
Mhm.
like and
Because
big and bulky.
I feel like last year they didn't do any of them, but usually it's like Jason, Freddy, Leatherface.
Uh-huh.
They're all like big dudes, you know.
I guess you could say Captain Spaulding from House of Thousand Corpses,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
it's
but
it's
supposed to
kind
be a
of
big dude.
even then there was a couple like skinny dudes in there.
yeah, because it's like they get desperate a little bit I
Uh-huh.
think, to the end of the casting. But that's
Yeah.
something they're looking at when you go into the audition. They are looking at like how they're gonna cast you. Like
Hmm.
it happens in June or July. It happens very early in comparison to when the event starts.
Hmm.
But they're like I don't know if they are, but they normally would be building stuff now, like
Yeah.
for the event.
Hmm.
With everything that's going on in the world, I don't know what's Horror Nights is gonna be like, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But for the auditions, yeah, dress like you're going to a yoga class or an exercise class. You don't want to wear jeans. You want to be able to move. They want to see you move. There's a lot of different roles at Horror Nights. There's the blackout performers. That's going to be the least physical job. And then
Mhm.
there's like the character that I played is going to be pretty much the most physical job. When you're in a maze, you might have like one move you're doing over and over again. So that's that physical, but not like running around. So I guess think about that when you're in the audition. Like there's all those different types of roles. So if you're like showing a good performance of you like running around and being able to like physically perform a lot, then there's a better chance that they would want to cast you in like a scare zone role versus like a blackout role. Because for a blackout role, you're watching a monitor, I think, and like triggering something. I've never done a blackout role, but it's like there are definitely different levels of physicality, but they're I don't know. What I've heard is next time they're gonna do like endurance tests, like pull ups and stuff.
Oh.
We'll see. I know there was some talk of maybe changing to do more of like Florida's hours because at Hollywood, I think the event opens at like 7 p.m. and goes to 2 a.m. 4 days a week. And from what I've heard, I think Florida's like 5 days a week and they don't work as many hours and they double cast everybody. And I don't know if it's as cost effective, monetary cost effective to do that, but like maybe the performers like do better because they're
I
more
would
well
say
rested.
I would say Hollywood's characters go through a lot more pain, I feel, than Florida's would because of the shifts.
The only thing I can say in Orlando is that there's A cast, B cast, and then C and D cast.
Hmm.
So C cast ends up going with A cast on their fourth set, if I'm not mistaken, and then B cast goes with D cast for their fifth set. Well, their fifth time the cast comes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Usually it's like 4 or 5 sets depending
And
on.
then they just end up meshing together towards the end of the night. And I think the very last cast is like C and then D. Like it thins out throughout the night.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so it's like
it's definitely
it's
different.
not as grueling. Yeah.
It's hard because I think a lot of people don't work other jobs when they're doing Horror Nights, and if you don't work another job, Horror Nights is awesome because you're just like staying up, playing around, doing Horror Nights, and then sleeping in and doing whatever you want. But
uh,
then unfortunately, some of us have to work too, so like that makes it even harder because it's like you still, for me like playing the big scare zone role, like I had to work all day and then I had to work all night and I had to perform all night, so it's you have to drink coffee, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, coffee, energy drinks, I guess, whatever it is.
Know that if
Yeah.
you're considering auditioning for Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood, it is a major time commitment. You really can't do too much else. Like I was able to kill myself and work before because I was working at a marijuana dispensary. It didn't take me a lot of energy to sell people weed for a few hours before I went into
Yeah.
Horror Nights to scare
Yeah.
people with it. But
At least it's not a physically demanding job before.
yeah, so that's why I was like, yeah, I could do that tired, no problem. The job kind of fell into my lap like during the season, like right before I said, yeah, I don't want to say no to opportunities to make money. But um so it's a thing of in a previous year I was very much on the acting hustle. A lot of things were going really well for me with acting. I was having a lot of like booking a lot of roles, just like on a really good forward motion. And then Horror Nights came around and I kind of had to stop all of that. I couldn't do any auditions. I couldn't film anything because Horror Nights is all I had time for. So if you are an actor, performer, and you're considering getting into this work, that's definitely something to keep in mind. The huge time commitment that it is. You're not going to be able to do all of your normal stuff if you're trying to work horror nights, especially if you're trying to work horror nights and work other jobs, because it is a seasonal thing. You know, you can't just bail on your regular job. You're going to have to go back to that. And that's totally understandable. But it's a lot.
It's a
It,
lot.
yeah, physically and time, it's a lot. It's fun, but just be prepared for that.
So last year you said you got to go through all the houses.
Yeah,
Did you have a favorite house last year?
I really liked the Pandora's box one. I like it was so bright, like the
Such
energy
an
was
underrated maze.
yeah, because it's one of the original IPs and doesn't get the hype. But
Uh-huh.
like the first like few scares in that had such on point energy. I was like, yes. It's nice. It's nice when you get to go through and experience like people actually wanting to do their job because
Uh-huh.
you can feel when people are tired and they're just doing the motion or whatever.
Throw
Not
their hand out.
unfortunately, not every character that gets cast is as into performing
Hmm.
as like someone like me. But that's the Pandora's box one, the just the energy really did it for me in that one.
It's I brought this up before, but there's like I'd say like a couple of people in Pandora's Box are fans of the channel, so it's like whenever I'd go in there, they'd give it their all, and I loved it. I loved it. It's so cool.
Yeah,
And
it's
just
fun.
like everybody, like all the Pandora actors, like she, I know a lot of them are played by guys, but she, meaning the character, would always just like stretch out like super far out of their boo holes or wherever they were, really energetic.
Yeah, it's nice when you get to experience that.
Uh-huh.
That's like why the event's so cool. When you get to walk through and experience like characters like really giving their all. It's like this is why we paid money for this. This is why we waited in line for hours. You know.
It's a whole like, and especially there's the people that just go just to have fun and get scared, whatever. But then there's people like me or other people like who are scare actors who go to the event just as a guest, where you appreciate the little things like that, like the energy of the scare actors, the detail that's going on. It's a really neat thing. It's such Horror Nights has so many moving parts.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Just and I mean even like throughout the characters, just like the different types of roles, and then I mean we're only the performers. There's all the people that are controlling everything, the sets and the sounds, and
Mhm.
there's so much that goes into it. This is a huge money making event for Universal.
And speaking of Horror Nights, we talked about it. We talked a little bit about it a couple minutes ago. The future of the event this year. Obviously, construction has started. A couple days ago, there was a drone footage of construction starting.
Oh, nice.
So it's looking like it's going to be like a 50-50 chance for Horror Nights this year due to what's going on in the world. How do you think, since you've been a scare actor for 4 years, what do you think Universal will do to prevent scare actors from getting too close to guests? Do you have any idea of like how they do it?
I was thinking about that the other day because that's like one of the things. Like, obviously, we want to get really, really close,
Mm-hmm.
but not touch you,
Yep.
but really close. Oh, I touched it.
Not 6 feet away.
Yeah, I know. Like, how can you scare somebody from 6 feet away? I can't even sell somebody marijuana from 6 feet away.
Exactly. Like you have to do so much stuff. Like when I go to the grocery store, and they have a little marker and it says like, "Oh, stand 6 feet away from the register." I'm like, "Well, how am I supposed to put my card
I know.
into
Yeah,
the?"
I have to take your card. I have to run your credit card. I don't let people run their own cards because we've had people accidentally charge themselves too much. They hit an extra zero when they're putting the card in. They charge themselves $800 instead of $80. So
Uh-huh.
like, I have to take your card to charge your card. I have to. I mean, I try to like leave the products on the counter and like go get the door for them. But even the
Yeah.
hallway, we get congestion in the hallway. So I'm like,
Uh-huh.
how that's all Horror Nights is like tight, crowded places. So
Exactly.
I don't know if they've tried to change it to like a 6 feet away scare. It's not gonna have the same feeling, you know?
And it's weird because Universal, both parks, both coasts seem like they're ready. Like they're like, all right, we're good. We're good. Like we're gonna do Horror Nights. Like we're fine.
It's a huge.
Construction's starting. They have all the planning, but none of us know how they're gonna do it.
I don't think they know. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
well, they
maybe they don't know. Maybe they just have.
Maybe they're
Maybe
just
they
saying
think
they
that it's
know.
just gonna go away.
I think they count on the money from Horror Nights. Like
Yeah.
how many thousands of people? I mean, we scare almost 30,000 people a night, every night.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
That's
it's
a
a lot of
lot.
people,
That's a lot.
especially with Hollywood's crowds.
That's a lot of money.
Florida has Florida has a lot of like the same amount of crowds as us, but the thing that I always say is in Hollywood you get them all. You don't get just a set community or a set fan base. Like in Hollywood, it's so many different people. I mean, LA, it's LA is everybody.
It's like such a hub. Like there's because we definitely have people from other countries come through.
hmm
Like
Oh
you
yeah,
have like
the ones that come and visit the daytime park and then they're like, oh, Hornets, let's do it.
yep, we're here.
The opening ceremony has always been a tradition at Hornets and Scares on One. It has always been such a great thing. Over the years, it has gotten kind of dangerous. What was the decision to pull the plug on ceremony this year?
Well, they didn't really tell us too much details. What we were told was no more opening ceremony. Like this is gonna be the last
That
one.
was it.
Nope, we're not there. They said we're getting rid of it because I think what did they tell us? Like people don't like waiting. Like they want to just be able to go get in line or
hmm
something, I guess, and like that's why people were complaining, so they took it out. And then they tried to bring it back. I think they told us no, and then like they're like maybe we're just gonna do it on Sundays or something. So we did it again, but then it was like no more. They didn't really tell us why too much. And I think that's whatever about the lines thing. I guess maybe
hmm
this is
I mean,
people
it
hating
was
it.
weird because I heard one was safety, two was the lines thing. But if it was the lines thing, they always had a separate space for people to wait. And then they cut it off like 10 minutes before the event actually kicked off because they obviously have early entry and stuff. But I mean, they had a waiting area for people if they wanted to wait. So it was just weird. It's a really weird thing. What was it like? Cause did you get to do opening ceremony at
I
least on the
did.
nights?
That
What
was
was
so
like?
cool. Oh my gosh! After like working Horror Nights for 3 years and like hearing about like how Scare Zone One's like the best, and then like getting to be getting cast in Scare Zone One, it's like, and I get to be in the opening ceremony. Like this is it. It
Yeah.
was very exciting to get to be in the opening ceremony. They changed it pretty quick though because we had to get rid of one of the characters because people were complaining.
Oh, the
The
whole
Lopan
racism
character.
size thing. Yeah. Oh yeah. That this is the thing, right? I tell Losh this all the time. Hollywood has so much controversy. Florida can like they get away with a lot of stuff, but Hollywood, oh my God, so much controversy.
No, like it got changed pretty quickly when they got rid of Lopon. Like I think he lasted only like the first weekend or something. But yeah, it was cool because we had a whole like at our. So the way that it works, you get cast. You'll get like an email or a phone call or maybe both, and then
Mhm.
you have to schedule some paperwork that you have to go in and do, and then you schedule an orientation, and that's when you go in and they talk to you about like the performers union that you have to join in order to work the event and like how it's
Yeah.
going to work, and like they at the orientation they tell you all the scare zones and mazes because they haven't announced everything yet, and then after that you are scheduled based on where you're cast for a rehearsal, and at the rehearsal is when we did the opening ceremony, and that's when like Scott like put it all together, line us all up in a garage, and we're like walking through like this is how it's gonna be. And then after walking through it in the garage for a while, we when the park, I think we had to wait for the park to actually be closed. We went into the park and they turned on the music and we practiced going through it with the music a few times. It's it was really cool. It's like we're this is it. This is the opening ceremony. Like yeah.
Yeah.
And then they took it away.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, but I mean, I'm hoping one day that we'll get it back. Obviously not this year because if they're doing social distancing, there is no way in hell
Yeah,
we would
no.
have it.
No.
It is insane.
Aw.
But hopefully they bring it back in year. Real quickly to wrap up this podcast, is there anything you want to say for aspiring ski actors that are looking to become ski actors?
Train all year long. Be constantly exercising. It is very physically demanding to work this job. Put yourself in a position to be like killing it when you start instead of finally adjusting to all of this physical work by the end of the season.
It does. I mean, even just from a viewing standpoint, 1 year that I slowly start to quit YouTube, which hopefully isn't years from now, but I want to at least try 1 year of scare acting and really take it seriously. So
Yeah.
um, if you guys are looking to do it, definitely I would say, get in touch with scare actors because there's a lot like Mikaela. Like I just talked to her through Instagram because I took a picture of her. Are you gonna call?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good. Do you need a pause?
No, it's okay. It's my mom.
Okay.
I'll take her later.
Um, I met her through just one picture that I took, and then you kind of talk here and there, and there's a couple characters like that. It's always good to get advice. If you think you know everything, you don't, because you don't know it until you actually do it.
Most of those characters are really nice people. I know that's we like to look scary.
Uh-huh.
That's it. We don't like. I don't want to scare you when it's my job, but I don't want to scare you right now. Most people are really really cool and like love talking about Horror Nights. So if you know his character, like reach out. You can reach out to me, I guess. I'm on Instagram, Moody
Yeah,
Mikaela.
we'll have all the stuff down below. Um, Instagram down below. You have a Twitter?
I don't really do Twitter. My big thing is TikTok, though.
Oh
I
my
do.
goodness. I'll link that down below then.
There it is. Link to TikTok.
I do vegan cooking videos on TikTok. It's like totally
Ooh.
different.
Well, there you go. I'd assume Instagram's probably easier. TikTok's like such a growing app now. It's like freaking
Yeah,
so many people are on there.
it's it's if you're trying to get social media fame quickly,
That's the way to go right now.
TikTok is a good app because it's new. And, more and
And
more people are getting on there all the time.
I guess you can like really do anything, and like anybody will watch you on TikTok. Like it's
Find
crazy.
find your niche.
Yeah, don't do the same thing.
Yeah. That's why I think that's why I'm successful because I do a very specific niche with like the
Hmm.
vegan cooking, but that's like a whole other TikTok is a whole other topic.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Michaela, you got a big career ahead of you and going on right now. So good job with everything you're doing, and
Thanks.
we hope to see you at Horror Nights this year as a guest.
Yeah.
Since we won't see you as a scare actor.
I hope to be there as a guest. I hope it happens.
If it does happen, we will definitely meet up sometime in the haunt season. Talk,
Yeah, that would-
Um, you plugged all your stuff. Thank you for coming on once again. Your first scare actor on Horror Nights Unscripted, so it was fun.
Yay! Stay
My
scary.
name is Scott. This has been Adrian. You can check out all of our stuff down below, linked down in the description, as well as our guest today's. All of her socials will be down below. We are Horror Nights Unscripted. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.